Today I want to show you why Photoshop standard invert command is not always the best way to convert a black and white film negative, especially when we're dealing with linear scans. A linear scan is different from a normal scan. It is designed to preserve the light values which are being captured by the scanner or DSLR camera, and it has very little correction applied. This is useful because it gives us more honest information to actually work with. So let's start in Photoshop. Here I have a black and white negative scan. This is a linear scan, so the tonal values have not already been shaped by the scanner software. I'm going to start by rotating this to the correct orientation. Now I'm going to use the standard Photoshop invert, and I'll do that through an adjustment layer. So I'll choose the invert command. At first glance, yes, we have a positive image, but look closely at the tones. The black point is not properly placed, and the midtones feel compressed or unnatural looking. And the reason for this is because the Photoshop invert command is a simple mathematical reversal. It takes dark values and makes them light, and it takes the light values and it makes them dark. It doesn't truly understand the density of the negative or how it should be shaped after that conversion. A straight invert can be useful as a quick preview, but it's not always going to give you the best positive. Now let's take the same negative and we'll open it up into the DBW Linear Scans desktop application, and we can just see if there's actually any difference between the initial conversion. This is the UI for the actual application. I'm going to start by opening up that same negative that we just opened up in Photoshop, and that's the church. We can simply drag the image onto the canvas. I'm going to rotate the image left so it brings it back into the correct orientation, and I'm just going to change the background colour of the canvas. So I'll do that by right clicking, and I'm going to choose neutral grey. That's the one that I like to work with. So as soon as the image comes into the application, the conversion has taken place. It's automatically calculated where the black point and the white point should be. It's determined the exposure. It's placed the black and white points in the correct position. And then it's built a curve based on the actual tones that it sees within inside the image. And all this has happened in the background. Although these are automatic values, they can be overridden. And we can override them by using the sliders or the different checkboxes on the right hand side panel. So let's quickly have a look at those. At the very top we've got base value. It's currently set to auto detect. So this is going to detect where the actual blackest part of the image is. If we don't like the value that it's chosen, we can choose the manual option, and then we can enter in a numeric value. It always starts at the auto detection, and then you can move up and down to actually shift that initial black point. Next we have auto controls, which consist of auto exposure and auto range. Auto exposure is basically allowing the conversion algorithm to give us a base exposure for this image. And then the auto range, again, it's allowing the program to place those black and white points at the either end of the scale. So it's remapping those and it's stretching those values to place them right at the end of the scale. Next we have the conversion, and this is called the dense percentile slider. Think of it as a white slider. Increasing the value is going to increase the whites considerably. And you'll quickly end up blowing out those whites based on the contrast value of this image itself. In this particular image it would blow out quite easily because of the amount of high values that we've got. Next we've got the exposure trim. Think of it as an exposure slider. Moving to the right is going to increase the exposure of the image. Moving it to the left is going to decrease the exposure or the overall brightness. The next one is inversion power. And what the inversion power is going to do, it's going to reshape the actual tones based on an internal curve algorithm. As we know, each negative has got its own characteristic curve, and that characteristic curve can change based on film type, development type and exposure. And that's exactly what the inversion power is doing. It always defaults at 1.6, but it gives us the ability to move that curve around so we can change the overall look of the image. And I'll increase that. We can see that It's reshaping that curve, it's darkening things and it's lightening things. And this is all being done to the underlying source image. It's not just adding a curve on top of the image that we're seeing, it's taking the source image, which is that negative, and it's reapplying that conversion under the hood. And it's reshaping the overall conversion values based on where you're placing the inversion power slider. Next, we've got a mid-tone lift slider. That's going to just lift the mid-tones without affecting the ends. So it's basically locking in the black point, it's locking in the white point, and it's moving the mid-tones up and down. So we're not going to be fighting where that black point is going to move to and the white point. We're just concentrating on the middle section, which is the mid-tones. Some people like to think of it as a mid-tone contrast. Technically, it can be called a mid-tone contrast, but I like to think of it more as a mid-tone lift. Same with the highlight compression. This is going to compress the highlights down in value. So it's going to make the very, very brightest parts of the image not feel so bright and stark. Lightroom calls this highlight recovery, but I like to think of it more as a compression because we're actually compressing those values down into a lower value white. Beneath the highlight compression, we've just got a set of statistical values for those that like to see these type of things. So that's really how we can control the initial conversion. We can either leave it at the automatic as when we load the image in, or if we want to override that, we can then start to readjust the sliders to an aesthetic taste. Remember, this actual program is not designed to give you a final finished image. Although in some cases you could actually call this done, export it out. But the whole concept really is to take that linear scan, convert it into a positive, then we export it out, and then we continue to do the editing based on our aesthetic pleasers. And the initial conversion is the whole concept of the program. Rather than use that simple Photoshop Invert command, which is just basically that mathematical reverse that doesn't give us the true tonal shapeness of that image, so we bring it into an application like this where we can take advantage of all these complicated maths and formulas and let the program work it out on its own and hopefully give us a much better positive conversion.